So, hello Sinjeeta, how are you? Uh, I have known you for past 4 years. 4 साल
Yes.
4 साल करीब करीब 4 साल से आता हूँ.
Anji.
Sinjeeta, and thank you so much for taking out time. I know it is 9 a.m. there, 8 a.m. in Canada.
Yes, so it's around 9:20 a.m.
It's 9:20 or it's a Sunday
Yes.
morning.
It is a bright Sunday morning.
It's a bright
It's
Sunday morning.
-3 or -4, but it's a
-3 degree. अरे
bright
बाप रे.
Sunday morning. And thank you so much for considering me a good option to have a conversation with you on a nice Sunday morning over coffee.
Thank you so much for this. And this is how I have started interacting with people who are basically in different parts of the world. And this goes in my channel. The world is a bowl of curry. So I initially thought of making this as the world is a bowl of veg curry, but realizing there are not many vegetarians in the world. So I made it to the world is a bowl of curry.
Nice one. Good one. It's actually a good one. Wish you all the very best.
And
You're a
this
very enterprising person. I've always, jitna din, the 4 years that I've known you, you're a very enterprising person and wish
Thank
you
you.
all the best.
Thank you so much. संजीता आप बैंगलोर में कितने साल थी?
12 years.
12 years. And you know बैंगलोर का टेम्परेचर 20 से कम नहीं जाता है और 21, 22, 23 वैसे ही कुछ रहता है. And from 23 to -3. And there would have been cases जब वो और भी नीचे जाता होगा.
हाँ, तो आज एक्चुअली बहुत अच्छा वेदर है. So this is the thing. This year, winter has been, जैसे यहाँ पे सब बोल रहे हैं, it's been a very mild winter.
Okay.
Otherwise, last year, this time, we had snow up to a foot. And I would go to work every day in that snow wearing my snow boots and those jackets. It would be so. Toronto is actually, because it's down south of Canada, very close to the US border, it is comparatively warmer, and that's why maximum immigrants move to Vancouver and Toronto because of the weather.
Because of the weather.
Northern parts of Canada it's harsh, like in
Unbearable.
literal sense it's harsh, like Alberta and all. I have friends there in Edmonton, Calgary. I have my school friends, I have my childhood friends. In October it hits a -30.
-30.
It's
That's
October is end of spring and start of winter kind.
that would be very difficult, very difficult. In fact, आपको पता होगा Bangalore is comparatively from other parts of the country, Bangalore is the best when it comes to weather. North में अभी भी 1, 2 या 3 डिग्री है. और कुछ स्टेट्स ऐसे हैं इंडिया में जहाँ पे ठंडा आता ही नहीं है. फॉर एग्जांपल आई थिंक चेन्नई इज
इवन कैलकाटा में भी winters are pleasant और गर्मियों में तो because humidity levels are high, but
correct.
The only difference is that, or a very major difference is that दिल्ली एंड ऑल वहां पे बहुत ठंड होती है. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या है ना, see as I said, it's -3 feels like कुछ -5 -6 होगा, feels like is what you actually feel like, but inside the house, because it's all temperature controlled, you don't feel the difference. Like I'm not even wearing a jacket or anything, right? Absolutely comfortable.
That's why हम लोग बराबर लग रहा है अभी. So, and Bangalore, it is 27 or 28 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cool. So, आपने Kolkata, you were born in Kolkata, right? You were born in Western.
So I'm born in a very small town, Asansol. I did my schooling there. I did my education, higher education, graduation in Calcutta, in Xavier's Calcutta. And then I moved for further higher education to Bangalore. So Bangalore mein I have done my postgrad and I started working. I got married, had a family, house, kid, car, the entire journey which a person goes through, the most important journeys of a person's life, probably, or probably a woman's life, you might say. It's been in Bangalore primarily. So I am extremely attached to Bangalore.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Kolkata specializes in street foods. The kathi roll, the march,
the puchkas, the chicken roll, the double egg, double chicken rolls.
Correct. And Bangalore specializes in idli, dosa, the best, one of the best idli dosa amongst other states. Canada में तो कुछ नहीं मिलता होगा? Okay,
so if that is the thing, I think this is one of the major misconceptions that we have. even when I speak to my parents and my family, they'll be like, यार बहुत दिन हो गए ना तुमने मछली नहीं खाया होगा यार बहुत दिन हो गए होंगे ना आज हम पता है एक शादी में गए थे मस्त मटन खाए just to tell you yesterday we went to this restaurant we had very good dahi ke kebab और वो दही के कबाब ना आप like when you break it mess कोई बोलेगा ही नहीं we are sitting in Canada and having that it was an Indian restaurant and the thing is because यहाँ पे immigrant population इतना ज्यादा है you
They
get
cater
food
to.
of different variety. We went last week to a place called Guru Lakshmi. It's a very famous restaurant in Toronto. It's a proper South Indian restaurant. Not only is it pure veg, वहाँ उनके मेन्यू कार्ड में जैन फूड का भी अलग सेक्शन है and they have a separate kitchen for Jain food.
बिना
So
प्याज
it's a
लहसुन वाला।
vegetarian restaurant. जो उनका major veg part है, there they're using pyaz and lasan, right? So they
हाँ,
have a separate kitchen, which means separate utensils, separate cook, everything for Jain. And the menu card also has a separate section for Jain food. And it is वहाँ पे एक हफ्ते पहले से reservation करना पड़ता है.
oh my god,
You cannot walk in. If you walk in, you will not get a place.
oh my god, so it's like you find India in a
If I say specifically I am a Bengali, do I get authentic Bengali food? Maybe not, because the population of Bengalis, per se, the Indian side of Bengalis, is probably limited. But in general, if I go for North Indian food, South Indian food, there are chettinad food, there are amazing restaurants, और इतना मस्त बनाते हैं ना. And that concept, I have also grown up hearing, अरे आप बाहर गए हो, if you are a vegetarian, आप मैकडोनल्ड्स में जाओगे, आप बर्गर किंग में जाओगे, वो आपकी ओर देखते हैं क्योंकि वेज कुछ होता नहीं है. Might be that was the case maybe years back. It's not that today. You walk in and they do have a veg patty. Okay, they might still have onion in it if you're very specific, but they have their chicken burgers, they have their other varieties of meat जो यहाँ पे लोग consume करते हैं. And they have veg options also. There are so many South Indian restaurants, North Indian restaurants, there are Pakistani restaurants, and you won't miss home when it comes to food and good food. Matlab, very, very good food. The filter
vegetarian
coffee is amazing.
in Toronto filter coffee.
Yes. So there's this place, Guru Lakshmi to hai. There's another place called South and Spicy. No paid promotion. Okay, these are places where I go. The filter coffee, मैंने photo लेके घर पे भेजा. My brother, who's also in Bangalore, he understood the emotion. मेरे mom and dad ने सिर्फ एक thumbs up भेजा. Now they're getting used to the emoji world and all these things. I understood. They are in West Bengal and वहाँ पे भी वो filter coffee नहीं पिए हैं.
Okay.
But मैं यहाँ पे Toronto में, and that filter coffee, it comes in exactly, if you are in South India, you will know. They'll give you a bowl and then there's a glass and up dal. Oh my God.
And
Authentic.
it was served
Absolutely.
to you in the same manner.
Absolutely same manner.
And was that a English guy serving you or?
Oh no. So yeah, that's the thing. If you go to Indian restaurants, Pakistani restaurants, primarily it's us. It's primarily the Desi people. And when we come to Canada, the more common term that people use is Desi because it's South Asian. So it's Indians, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. So it's the South Asian.
It's a generic word for the entire.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So, Sinjeeta, when you have more than 190 countries, or I don't know whether my geography is correct or not. Why did you choose Canada? Any specific reason?
Yeah, so couple of things over here. Some could be my personal and some could be very generic. My husband is in IT. Most of his clients are US based. So time zone and all wise, Canada is the most nearest and probable. And it was a company transfer. So they also were looking for something in the North American market. It also is about the immigration rules and the immigration terms and conditions. If you see right now, Australia and Canada, they are promoting immigration. And if we go by what are the terms and conditions, what is the scoring factor, we did have that discussion whether we want to go to Australia or Canada. To be honest, I think this is a never-ending debate. A lot of people choose Australia, a lot of people choose Canada. A lot of times, while we are in India, we don't have all the proper information. Information is based on me reading blogs, listening to YouTube. जो मुझे थोड़ा बहुत मैंने सुना था और जो मैंने interact किया था, because of my line of business that I was in, a lot of clients and everything. I had heard that Australia may, because I'm from the financial sector, it's limited. It's not that it's not there, it's there, but it's limited.
For finance.
Canada may, I will not have that issue. And so from a career standpoint, we felt that let's choose Canada so that we know that there would be you have to go back a little in your career. That is something you have to accept. But still, the opportunities are more getting the option of getting jobs in the financial sector or my domain is much more probable and higher. That was the thought process behind choosing Canada over Australia.
Anything came as a shocker to you when you landed in Canada? Something which you're not expecting at all?
So that's the thing, thanks to the world of internet. A lot of things, whether it's being the cold weather or everything, you're mentally prepared. Your body might not be prepared, but you're mentally prepared to accept it. We've always known that in Canada, people are very courteous, which is very true. So to be very honest, because I did do a lot of my reading, I did go through a lot of YouTube. There are a lot of these immigration bloggers and all who give a pretty realistic view. It wasn't a shocker. The first shocker that I had is after I came here and we were in quarantine for 14 days. और सबसे पहली बार जब हम grocery store गए, मैंने एक टमाटर उठाया और एक टमाटर का प्राइस था $1. मतलब 60 रुपया. मैं बोली मैं टमाटर ही नहीं खाऊंगी. I cannot. I'm like एक टमाटर 60 रुपया. अच्छा धनिया पत्ता. चलो ऑमलेट बना लेंगे. धनिया पत्ता is like $1.7. So it's like 110 rupees. I'm like हैं? मैं 10 रुपए बना दूं. 110.
And especially in India, where dhania patta does not have a effective price, right? It comes
effective price. वो तो सब्जी वाले भैया ऐसे ही दे देते हैं ना आपको. So yes, because in our mind we always keep converting, which is a very wrong thing to do. Probably as a new immigrant, because आप अपने home currency में पैसे लेके जाते हो, because it takes a little while for you to set up, to get a job, to get your paycheck. And that's why probably you convert, because you've brought your money in your home currency, you've converted that. But it does take a little time to stop doing that. I don't do that anymore. It's been quite a while here now. But yes, initially I was like, oh my God, because I was converting everything in my mind.
So when did this stop? When you finally?
I don't know if I start. Probably after I started working, and I think it took 4-5 months.
Oh, okay.
It took 4-5 months for me. My husband was pretty cool, like because he has traveled a lot, probably, or he was mentally prepared. He wouldn't do that. But me being me, or probably, we Indian women, we don't like spending unnecessarily, right? And then हम रखते हैं ना हिसाब किताब रखते हैं घर के खर्चे का. So yeah, it took me I think 4-5 months to stop converting in my mind for everything that I buy.
Correct. So when we talk about challenges, the challenges we face as a grown up and the challenges a kid faces are
very different. Very different.
6-year-old kid, a daughter, right? 6 years.
Yes. She's 9 now.
She's 9 now. Great. So when she moved in, you must have her schooling, her other stuff, her adjusting to Canada's weather, and so many things. Was it a problem health-wise?
Yes, it was. And as you said rightly, as an adult and as a kid, it's a completely different journey. So if I just have to put a little light on as an adult, see, as an adult, whether it's cold or anything, you know in your mind that it will be cold. You know in your mind that you will be adjusting to a new place. However, howsoever we know, हम उतने resilient नहीं होते हैं जितने बच्चे होते हैं. So culture does come as a shock, the concept of culture shock. So हमारे इंडिया में तो if you move 3-4 states, आपको culture shock होता है. यहाँ पे तो you've moved to a different country. And another thing is that a lot of conversation, like you have to strike a conversation with people around. Their interests and our interests are different. यहाँ पे लोग ice hockey खेलते हैं, right? That's like religion. It's like religion over here. I came to know about ice hockey only after I moved to Canada. I know about cricket. मुझे अपने सचिन तेंदुलकर पता है. मुझे यहाँ के Toronto Raptors नहीं पता है. So initially, it was a little difficult. People are very courteous, very sweet. But initially, to get into that conversation with people from every ethnicity, see, if you've moved outside India, you have moved outside because you wanted a cosmopolitan environment for yourself and your child, right? Eventually, if you only end up making your desi friends and only talk to those people in your office who are from your cultural background, then what is the why did you move? Right. So if you have to embrace the culture, it takes a little time, and that is challenging because at a certain age, once you have hit your 30s, it is difficult to overnight adjust to the culture, adjust to the way they speak, adjust to those conversations, the kind of conversation, the kind of topics that people like and enjoy, and also sometimes the way people perceive your homeland to be.
Correct.
Sometimes it does come as okay, आप अभी भी ये सोचते हो हमारे बारे मतलब हमारे देश के बारे में. So yes, so culture shock is, I think, the biggest shock that grown-ups get, and even more when you're away from your family, away from your friends, वो आपको और ज्यादा haunt करती है. Kids, on the other hand, kids are very resilient, and that's what I realized. And it's not only my kid. Like we have friends we have friends who are from Delhi, we have friends from Bangalore, we have friends who have come from Coimbatore, Chennai, and that's a common conversation that we have, parents, that kids are really resilient. I was surprised that my daughter really picked up very well. And when I say it's my daughter, it's not only my daughter. A lot of Indian friends that we have, उन सबके बच्चों के साथ, they really picked up well. They have friends, they have made friends, they have friends from all ethnicity, all backgrounds. And probably that's the thing, they're very resilient. Yes, now English is one thing. Abhi, my daughter was going to DPS in India. उन्होंने अच्छे से English, that was not a challenge for my daughter.
Okay.
So I do not know, or probably I will not know a lot if there's a kid who is not very conversant with English. तब उनको कितनी difficult होगी. But by and large, the kids who come from Delhi, Bangalore, and all these Mumbai, they are pretty good in English. तो कोई problem होता नहीं. और यहाँ पे education system will. So again, I mean, one of the misconceptions I think which we have back there कि Western education बहुत ही अच्छा है. It has two sides of it. The college and university education is very good, definitely. जो primary education है, जो आपका elementary है, the good thing is that because it's so many immigrants from different parts of the world come, their teachers and the entire system is made in a way where they will ensure that the child feels safe, the child feels comfortable, the child is not bullied. Like they have real anti-bully conversation. They will have. तो वो चीज बहुत अच्छा है. Like when I moved and I was little worried, the teacher was like, don't worry, absolutely not. And वो पूरे क्लास को आगे नेक्स्ट लेवल पे नहीं ले जाते जब तक आपका बच्चा, सपोज दे डूइंग डिवीजन, तो जब तक आपका बच्चा भी उतना ही कन्वर्सेंट, जब तक सारे बच्चे कन्वर्सेंट नहीं हो जाते एक सर्टेन लेवल तक, वो पूरे क्लास को नेक्स्ट लेवल तक मूव नहीं करते हैं.
It's like bringing all of them in one page.
Exactly, because they don't have the concept of differentiating among kids. However, now this is some completely my personal opinion, probably as a desi parent, I would say inka college education is very good. But your primary or elementary education, the good side is they are so inclusive and they don't put pressure on the child. I think there's a flip side to it as well. If you do not push the child to persevere somewhere, life is not easy. You have to push above and beyond. Be it your personal life, be it your job life. आप बहुत सब चंगासी वाला कॉन्सेप्ट चलता है यहाँ पे बच्चों को लेके. दे आर सो प्रोटेक्टेड कि अचानक जब आप हायर एजुकेशन में जाते हो, आप प्रेशर नहीं ले पाते हो, and that's why they have so many dropouts.
So
huge.
When you remember your school times, the margin of error was so limited. You cannot.
Exactly. You cannot.
If you remember.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that there would be a lot of people who are listening to this might say कि तो आप क्या बोल रहे हो कि Indian education अच्छा है, वहाँ पे आप बस रट्टो and you go and you vomit out and you forget. See, when you analyze a particular country's education system, it doesn't mean that relative to that दूसरा country अच्छा है. यहाँ पे we are primarily the conversation is about Canada and India, right? So I'm not saying everything is the best in India. Indian education has its flaws. वहाँ पे उसके flaws है, but that doesn't mean कि यहाँ पे सब कुछ is all great. यहाँ पे भी it has its flaws, because आप grade लाइक 10-12 साल तक बच्चा ना एग्जाम देता है, वो बोलता है कि नहीं मुझे ये अच्छा नहीं लगता पढ़ने में, ठीक है मत पढ़ो, मैं घर आके होमवर्क नहीं करूंगा, ठीक है मत करो. There's no concept of pressurizing a child. I'm not, so pressurizing may not be the right word. Somewhere the
Responsibility.
way you push yourself to go a little above, you push
Responsibility.
yourself to be a little more responsible, that is not forced into a child, right? So what happens is jab actually mein life comes and hits you hard, you're not able to take it,
Not prepared for it.
you're not prepared for it.
You clear the gap which school has created?
It is difficult, you know, it is really difficult because you have to understand, यहाँ पे बच्चे लिखते नहीं हैं, ठीक है? My daughter, she doesn't know how to do cursive writing. She was doing cursive when she was in India. In TPS, they had started, right? But here, being here for a few years, they don't do cursive. मैं उसको बोलती हूँ करो, मैं उसको printouts देती हूँ. It's not she doesn't do it. She's a very obedient kid. But at times she'll be like, Mama, none of my school friends do it. We do everything on our Chromebooks. Why should I do this? And it is very natural. मतलब आपके आसपास आपके कोई फ्रेंड्स, आपके कोई क्लासमेट्स नहीं कर रहे, वो लिखते ही नहीं है. मेरी मम्मी नाक सिर्फ लिखा रही है, बोल रही है कर्सिव राइटिंग भी करो. See, at one point of time बच्चा भी बोलेगा ना मैं क्यों करूं.
Correct. So, is this uh, uh, is this the same on other field of interest such as sports and arts?
So this is again the good thing about this place. They really encourage people who are kids or growing kids who are into sports and art. They have schools wherein their routine, the schedule is in a way that if you are pursuing any form of sport and you have to go for practices, your classes will be in a way so that you don't miss out. So that is, and the best thing is over here, it's gender agnostic. It's not that you are expected that the boys would be going and pursuing sports. I see so many women into different forms of sports, and it is so encouraged. So that's again a very good thing about
You
Canada or maybe G7 countries in general, probably.
you take her out to any sports club or something for practice or anything?
My daughter is not into the sports thing, but I know I have friends. There's a kid who's pursuing boxing. He is
Oh, okay.
he's I think 7.5 to 8 years old, and he's pursuing boxing. There are people who go to soccer classes. So, like just a couple of days back, I was telling my husband, my daughter was saying that she wants to go to ballet classes. And she was asking, do you think I can pursue ballet? I'm already 9. And we're like, yeah, sure, let's figure out. So even we had that discussion that because they see it around them and they see that pursuing a
So,
co-curriculum activity is encouraged.
and they don't want to be left out. So this is what happens,
Absolutely.
right? This is a peer
Absolutely.
pressure.
Correct.
How easy it is to commute in Canada, in Toronto specifically?
Yes.
So
Very
public
good
transport.
question. This is the funniest thing. So I have only stayed in Toronto. So I will tell you this thing I will tell you is very specific Toronto. But I think that's very apt because maximum लोग Toronto और Vancouver में ही आते हैं जब first time immigrate करते हैं. If you have a car, then it's fine. Because यहाँ पे there's no concept of traffic jam. आप 1 घंटा Silk Board, you're not stuck in Silk Board for an hour. Right?
Oh my God.
So
Of all the things
commute
I
is
remember, Silk Road.
that is a pain which doesn't
Correct,
go.
correct.
So if you have a car and if you drive, then it's absolutely fine. But as a new immigrant, when you come here, you may not have a car. Even if you have a car, even if you have the money to buy a car, you need to have the license. You have to give the test. There are levels. You have to give the test, then G1, G2. Like there's
The
a
process in
system that you have to follow, and it takes a few months. Plus the left hand, right hand drive concept, right? So the muscle memory that you have to get used to, the cars are like यहाँ पे बहुत fast जाते हैं highways में. You have to be in line, you have to align with the speed. It's not कि अरे मुझे ज्यादा जोर नहीं आता मैं 50 पे गाड़ी चलाऊंगी, ऐसे नहीं होता है. If it's 100 120, everyone's clocking 100 120, you cannot be at a 70 80 also, accident हो जाएगा. So it takes time for a new immigrant to learn how to drive, to get your license, and even monetarily maybe to get a car. Till that time, you rely on public commute. And public commute is, if I have to put it very politically correct word, is horrendous.
Public commute in Canada is horrendous.
Public commute, first of all, from one place to another place, say it is X kilometers. If you drive, it's 15 minutes. If you take public commute, it's 1 hour. How is this justified?
Why is that?
So now there is a logical reasoning behind it. The cars, the individual cars, they will primarily take the highways. If you take public commute, you're taking a subway or you're taking a streetcar. Streetcar is basically tram, but a more advanced form of tram. Or you take buses. They have different routes. They will cover, and they don't follow the same route. So from point A to point B, you might take a highway and go here, but the bus will go. So you have to take a bus which goes up to here, then you take a subway which goes up to here, and then you take another bus or a streetcar which will come here. So so आप ऐसे करके वही same point में पहुंचे, but in the car you are covering a bird's eye view kind of a
Life is
trajectory.
to have your own vehicle. This is what I want.
Correct. And it is very, very dirty. To be very honest, I have stayed in
very, very
Bangalore. मैंने Bangalore का metro use किया है, Volvo use किया है. I've been to Delhi Metro, Calcutta Metro. I think India ke jo metro and Volvos, okay, so now I'm not comparing to a local bus because I understand that may be a different scenario and a larger population of our country does commute in that. But if I have to compare the Volvo and the metro in India, I think they're much more cleaner, much more better, reliable, and much more safer as compared to over here.
This comes as a shocker.
Yes, it is. I didn't honestly expect. And to be very honest, I haven't heard a lot of people even tell this. मतलब जब हम आए थे, when we saw, it was a shock. हम like कोई बोलता नहीं है. मतलब even YouTubers will say, you know, public commute, everything is connected. Yes, everything is connected, but what's the time? Point A to point B मुझे गाड़ी में 10 मिनट लगेगा, मुझे Uber में 10 मिनट लगेगा, मैं वही चीज bus and tram and everything मुझे 1 घंटा लगेगा. First, second, it is so dirty. Unfortunately, it's very dirty.
Oh my God.
And it is unsafe. This unsafe thing is something which has happened in the last few months in general. So this cannot be, this is something which is temporary. Probably the scenario, the cost of living has gone up, the job scenario, COVID has led to a lot of people have been left out, mental issues, mental health issues have emerged. It's not only in Canada, it's across the world. तो उसकी वजह से काफी क्राइम रेट पब्लिक कम्यूट में तो बढ़ ही गया है. If you follow news of Canada, you'll see it. It's all over the news. It's pretty, like I've heard some people say कि अब हम public commute avoid कर रहे हैं. People, I know someone who changed her job because she said, I'm not going to take public commute. Every other day someone gets stabbed or being pushed into the track or things like that. Not very good things happening. So, but that's a temporary thing. I believe it will be over soon, but it takes time. It's not clean. It came as a shocker to us, to be honest.
So all Englishmen driving public transport, or you saw any Desi also?
Desis also, lots of Desis as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how easy it is to go to Canada if you don't get a job? So in your case, your husband had a connection, right? It's someone who is a layman, doesn't know anything.
So my experience was I did not have anything, and I was applying from India, but then I realized that it will not help. They do not give you an option. They do not give you. They do not even call you for an interview if you are not in Canada. Okay. The thing is that I did a lot of preparation. I did prepare my resume as per the Canadian format and everything. After I came to Canada, I did start talking to a lot of my LinkedIn connections, ask them for referrals and all. But the first job that I landed here was without any referrals. And I think I've been lucky, thank God. It was through like a LinkedIn mein opening tha, I applied. And within 7 to 10 days, I got an email where the HR said they would like to have a discussion. And then another 10 days, I had a job.
And it happened, right? So it is not a very difficult job to get a job.
Every person has a different story. That's what I realized. There's no standard common thing that happens with everyone. Everyone's journey is different. So I know friends or other people who have struggled, like the initial 5-6 months, they have taken jobs which were not at par with what they were doing. They were like very basic jobs, just naam ke vaste, to go out and have something, start building some network, some connections. It took them 6 months, 8 months to get something in their line. forget the same grade, but at least in the same industry.
Industry.
But then there are some cases where you do get into your same field. However, when I say all this, see, there are two things in a job. Someone who's in their very early 20s or just education finish करके यहाँ पे आए हैं, for them, they did not really pick up a lot in their career in India because they just started working. एक दो साल इंडिया में काम करके यहाँ पे move किए हैं. And यहाँ पे also you're starting from a basic level. So it doesn't hit you that hard. But someone who comes in their 30s and considering they have done considerably well in India and they have reached a certain position, a certain level, and then you take a hit back. So it's not only about getting a job, you might still get a job in your sector. Okay, so I'm from the financial sector, I got a job in a bank itself. Same sector, you feel acha sab to theek hai. Sab theek hai, but what's the grade? What was I doing in India? And then what am I doing here? Probably what I'm doing here is something I was doing 7-10 years back in India. That's where I have again started. So that's there, and that is something which we have to accept. Like that is a trade-off that we have to accept.
That is the balance you have to build. The life in Canada, plus the earning in Canada, plus the grade
Yes.
you want to compromise for.
Take a moment. Can I just put my blind? You can see the sun.
Sure, sure, sure.
It's -3, but the sun is literally glaring on my face.
Sure, sure, sure.
Just give me a moment.
So when you say Saturday, Sunday, you get time, how do you spend that? You walk to a restaurant, you watch a movie.
Yeah, so like even back in India, we used to go out a lot to eat and watch movies and things like that. But in general, for me, Saturday, Sunday, 2 दिन मिलता है. One day is dedicated to housework because there's no concept of house help over here. So you have to do some meal prep. You have to clean the house. You have to do all your laundry and everything. You have to be prepared for the week, right? Because it's again, you're running from morning to evening, again, Monday to Friday. And you don't have anyone who can come and आपकी सब्जियां काट देंगे. आप just cook करते हो और आप cook कर लिए, फिर कोई बर्तन धो दिया, कोई kitchen साफ कर दिया. So you don't have those luxuries. Yes. So one day will go in doing all the housework, and one day is when you go out. जो मैंने यहाँ पे देखा है, Saturday सब बाहर जाते हैं, and it's for everyone. It's for desis and non-desis, everyone. Saturdays और खासकर अगर वेदर अच्छा रहा तो मतलब आपको रेस्टोरेंट्स में जगह नहीं मिलेगी, आपको रिजर्वेशन करके जाना होगा. मॉल्स में पार्किंग नहीं मिलेगी. ऐसा लगता है जैसे पूरा कनाडा बाहर आ चुका है, पूरा टोरंटो बाहर आ चुका है. So yesterday the weather was very bright. It was still -3, -4, but बहुत bright. I mean, you can see it's so sunny right now. It was so sunny yesterday also. हम 15 मिनट घूमे हैं पार्किंग के लिए. Finally we got a parking. So ऐसा नहीं कि पार्किंग फ्री है, आप बस कहीं पे पेड पार्किंग में भी जगह नहीं है.
Oh my God.
क्योंकि वेदर अच्छा था, everyone's out. But on a Sunday, आप 5-6 बजे भी grocery store जाओ, it's empty.
So when you travel outside, do you get a chance to see Bollywood movie, and how frequent it is?
I have not seen any Bollywood celebrities. I know a friend of mine who saw Katrina Kaif. It was 2020, I think, during pandemic, which was very surprising. And yeah, she was on the beach. She took a swim. She walked out. My friend, she took a pic, put it somewhere, saying that, see, I saw Katrina Kaif dur se. But I mean, she took a swim. She just walked back. So that kind of craze when they come here, first of all, it's only the South Asian crowd who know them, right? बाकी तो पहचानते भी नहीं है. The kind of paparazzi that we see in India कि airport से निकल रहे हैं, there's an entire paparazzi and there's vlogs about what they were wearing, who they were with and everything, and this all that is not there. I don't think that's there even for Hollywood or Canadian born celebrities. That kind of craziness, people are pretty busy in their lives and हाँ वो पागलपंती नहीं है. However, having said that, because South Asian population बहुत ज्यादा है यहाँ पे, there are celebrities who come for shows and concerts, and they do really well. Like A.R. Rahman came last कब आए हाँ December last year. A.R. Rahman ji ka show tha. Arijit Singh came, he was I think September October sometime, like a few months back he came. And I would not say only Indian. There are Pakistani singers who come. So I would again say it's primarily India and Pakistan. So a lot of South Asian celebrities who come, unke concerts hote hain, and the tickets are very expensive. So it's not ki, and they're full. Like if you don't reserve a place, आपको नहीं मिलेगा. Like I wanted to go for the Arijit Singh thing, and मैंने देखा था तब थे tickets little expensive. हम सोच रहे थे जाएंगे नहीं जाएंगे, इतना खर्चा करना है. And then finally जब सोचा कि नहीं चले जाते हैं, तब तक tickets ही नहीं थे.
And you see public hooting, yeah, Arijit Singh, yeah, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
You see that happening. Oh,
yes.
great.
So जहाँ पे concert हो रहा है, it's not कि रास्ते में या वहाँ पे, but जहाँ पे हो रहा है, and the people who go to see it, it is the South Asian crowd. But yes, I mean इतने ज़्यादा वहाँ से आते हैं, definitely यहाँ पे they get a very good and a warm response, and monetarily also it might be a very viable option. That is why इतने आते हैं और इतने concerts and all होते हैं यहाँ पे.
Sinjeeta, do you watch Bollywood movies, or do they release Bollywood movies in theaters?
So Pathan.
Have you seen it?
Yes. So Pathan, I think I didn't go. I wanted to जाना नहीं हुआ, सोच रहे हैं जाएंगे, but one of our cousins went and they said 80-85% पूरा full था. And they went on a weekday. That's the funniest thing. They went on a weekday. They said कैसे mood हुआ, काम खत्म करके चले गए. And on a weekday it was 75-80% full. It was the first week. So yes, and it's just so surprising. You know, we have this feeling India में कि हर Indian probably are not very warm towards Pakistanis, and Pakistanis are not warm towards India. So that could be a situation back home. यहाँ पे the camaraderie is amazing. It's amazing, and you should see how much even they go and watch Bollywood movies. Oh, they love Bollywood movies, and it's so nice. I mean, we all speak in Hindi. Laheja thoda different hota hai, but there's so much similarities in our food and culture. Yeah, and the bonding is very good over here. Very good.
The last final few words on governance in Canada.
Yes. So there's just like very similar to other G7 nations. So they have conservatives, they have liberals, then there's PNP right now. Last 1 year has been a very difficult scenario for all the governments because of the geopolitical situation, and which side of the coin, right and wrong is a different discussion. It's a different discussion, not for today. Yes, but every country has decided to be on one part of the story, right? And that has consequences. So are we facing, so that's the choice of the current government. And is the economy facing consequences? Yes, it is. Yes, it is facing consequences. There is economic consequence, but still what I hear is it's much lesser as compared to European nations. But agar मैं बोलूं नहीं, all good, sab changa si, nothing's getting affected. No, food prices have gone up. Everything has gone up. Like everything has become so expensive. Real estate market has taken a hit. Interest rates are like top of the roof. Jobs and all is getting affected. Things are getting very expensive because of like inflation. See, these countries never have that kind of inflation, right? And this is the first time in decades they're facing this. So, but then this is the choice or the decision of the political scenario, political party here who decides to take this stand, and we have to abide by it.
Sure. Because sitting in India, I can see India is offering pretty high interest, and this is we were offering 5 or 6 years back, but giving 6% interest to 8.5% interest is 2.5% high, or 150% high. But for a country like Canada or US, offering almost nothing, to offer 2 to 3% is like 200, 300 or 400% high. So that's a different scenario.
Huge. It's a huge difference. Matlab, it is matlab shaking. The difference is it has. So there are people who have lost their homes because they couldn't pay their mortgages. They had to literally sell it off or get rid of it even at a loss. Mortgages, the rates are so high, people are actually suffering. Like, I have had people, so loans, the rate of interest, start of 2022, the banks were giving mortgages at say a 1.5, 1.7, 1.9, to end of 2022 when it was 5.5 to 6%.
India was
So it is
at
huge.
6%, maybe 2 or 3 years back. It has reached that
Yes,
level.
yes, yes, yes. So yes, scenario is difficult, and but in general, in terms of political, it's a free nation, right? There's freedom of speech, so there is a certain percentage of people who are vocally against the current government, and they have their own reasons irrespective of the situation in the last 1 year. Like, even before, there's ideological differences that they have, and people do demonstrate that. It's a typical democracy, so there are different agendas. And I would say, every country, it's not like in only in our country, we feel कि लोग vote bank politics करते हैं. It's everywhere. Politics is politics. That's
Politics,
something I
politics.
realized.
It,
ऐसा नहीं है कि हम इंडिया में सोचते हैं कि यहाँ पे वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स चलता है and बाकी सब जगह में it is also plutonic. It's not.
the flavor
Every
may
place.
change, but it is a poison.
Yes,
It is
yes,
ultimately a
yes,
poison. And
yes,
this government is liberal by and large.
yes,
This government is
yes,
liberal by and large.
yes.
It's
It
a,
is. It is. Government is quite liberal. But yeah.
the lesser said, the better it is. Sure, sure, sure. Thank you,
Yes.
Sanjeeta. Thank you so much for your time. It was a lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope all those who listen to this conversation have a slightly better idea about Canada, about working in Canada, about staying in Canada, and let's keep adding values to this world. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.